Welcome back to the garden for an impromptu morning coffee and a chat. Now, there is no one there yet, and maybe there will be no one today. Who knows? I have never tried it this time in the morning, but well, it's not morning now. It's 12:15, so there is 15 minutes of morning left. But my plan was to do it about 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. But I got sidetracked, as one does. But I was about to make the coffee, and I thought, why not turn that coffee into a coffee and a chat? It might be a good idea. It might work. I was about to say, but it hasn't worked because I've got new viewers. But now I've got 3 people there. Welcome to the coffee and a chat, whoever you may be. One thing I hadn't considered about this was it's very sunny. It's a very hot day. I'm not sure if I will be able to read the chat off my screen. But if you're there, say hello. Let's test whether the chat works or not. 4 now, getting even better. What I will do is I'm going to log into my other phone. And yeah, I should be able to read it off this screen. This screen is a little brighter. Hello, Brian Walker. Hello, my friend. How are you on this fine day? Where in the world are you, Brian? Hello, JJ975. How you doing, brother? Thanks for joining. Where are you, chaps? I Shepherd's Pie 10. Brian Walker. Everything sounds great. Does it? Good. I'm glad about that. There is a bit of karaoke. Anaheim, California. There you go. I was hoping to get some of you California chaps. My plan of doing it, when I say California chaps, I wanted to try and speak to some American fans, because when I do fans, who am I, big-headed person I am, American subscribers. But the trouble is getting the time, because 8 o'clock was okay for New York, but now it's too late for them, I would have thought. But when I had a little look on the times in America, I thought California might be a winner. Just give me 1 second to get the chat up on my screen, and then I will, I should have done this before, shouldn't I? Here I am, I'm in. Ignore the advert. Right, so let's get this chat back. So I'll get off this bloody advert. Right, here we go. Yeah, so I shoot. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. It's not working. We'll have to stick with this one, chaps. Everything sounds great. Anaheim, California. I've been to California a few times. I have never been to Anaheim. I've heard of it, but I've never been there. Is it a nice place? Once it was in Maryland. I've never been to Maryland either, but I did meet a very nice chap from Maryland when I was in Key West once. We had a couple of drinks at the bar. He was an extraordinarily nice chap, and he told me that Maryland was a much friendlier state than Florida. I don't know if that's true or not, but he was very friendly. Is it a friendly state, Maryland? JJ975, Grantham, UK. Grantham, my word. I have not been to Grantham in years. When I joined the Air Force, the training was at a place called RAF Swinderby, and Grantham was a city where we had a few days and nights out. I like Grantham, but it was a long time ago. Brian Walker, wouldn't be the Philippines without some karaoke and roosters. You're right. Sadly, you're right. Yes. I don't mind a karaoke. I can't see the point of it, to be honest with you. I used to enjoy doing the karaoke in Thailand because it was generally at a bar and you had a nice meal and you sang and it was fun and they could all sing. But here, people just seem to do it outside their house, you know, for any reason. I went to a couple of local parties in Sikihor and all the locals wanted to do was sing. Put me off it, to be honest with you. But hey, if they enjoy it, why not? Brian Walker, yeah, 8:49 p.m. in Southern California, Los Angeles area. Well, there you go. The plan worked, Brian. Okay, Billy. Is day in Thailand versus the Philippines similar? Yes, I will do a video on that one day because people keep asking me to do it. The dating game, Thailand versus the Philippines. But whenever I do views on, you know, videos on women's and, you know, dating and that kind of thing, I've got to get this bloody thing out of the way. There we go. Yeah, I can't get rid of it. I'm going to keep getting messages flashing up from one of my group chats. The difference is, I'd say the primary difference is very similar, but you're going to get a lot more dates. I found Filipino women, they're far more, or tend to be looking for a long-term relationship. You know, yeah, they tend to be straight from the off. They're looking at you whether you're, you know, marriage material and making kind of judgments, which I don't mind. But in Thailand, not so much so, because of Buddhist culture, you know. There anyway. But yeah, no, it is very similar. It is very similar. Although I think you'll find these days, I mean, when I was dating in Thailand, I was a lot younger. Now I think your general Thai woman, because of a wealthier country, is less likely to be in favour of a wider age gap. I think that's a big difference. I don't think you're going to get many 25-year-old, 30-year-old Thais, unless they're bar girls, who are going to be interested in a guy who's like 20, 30, 40 years older. Whereas in the Philippines, there seems to be a lot. No, not a lot, but there are some. Anyway. Brian Walker, Disneyland is in Anaheim. Also, the Anaheim Angels Major League Baseball and the Mighty Ducks professional hockey. Well, there you go. That's embarrassing then, because I have been to Disneyland. So I have actually been to Anaheim. I just have a terrible memory for places. Yeah, I went to Disneyland in 1999, I believe. The reason I remember that, it was on my first honeymoon, my first marriage. Didn't really enjoy it. SeaWorld was okay, although I prefer the SeaWorld in Orlando. Yeah, I mean, if you're a kid, I think Disneyland in California is fantastic. But for an adult, there wasn't really much to do, and we were adults. I loved Universal Studios. So we went there first, and we went on the rides in Universal Studios and had a great time. And I thought Disneyland would be a bit more like Universal Studios. It would have some things for the adults, but it didn't. But maybe it's changed. That was back in 1999. Enzo, it's expensive here, but it's friendly for the most part. Well, that's nice. If I ever go back to the States, I will try Maryland. I've been to 27 states, but I've never been to New York, and I've never been to Maryland. Yeah, Maryland is a small state next to Washington, D.C., right on the East Coast, south of New York City. Yeah, when I met that guy, I said to my wife, ex-wife, you know, he's a nice guy. Next time we come here, because we were trying different states every time we went, or we were driving around. I said, well, we'll have to try Maryland because he's a nice guy. But I don't think we went back after that. I think that was our last trip together to the States. Ricky Travels. Hi, anybody know what happened to Kevin's channel? Too much time on my hand, 65, seems to have vaporised. I can't help you that, mate. I don't think I've ever seen that channel. So I have no idea. Maybe someone else in the chat will. Nicholas, good morning from sunny Chelmsford. I was about to say I know Chelmsford, but I know you, Nicholas, so you know I know Chelmsford. Morning, mate. How you doing? What time's it there? It's got to be, what are we on now? 12 o'clock, bit of maths. So it's 2 o'clock in the morning, is it? Are you just getting in from a night out? Brian Walker. That's the reason you don't remember Arnheim. You blocked out the memories of your ex. I tell you what, I did block the memories out of that. I've had 2 exes, and I try not to think about the first marriage. Second marriage was great. Fond memories of her, and we're still friends. Not so fond of the second one, just because it was a mistake. We rushed into it ridiculously quickly. It was a very short marriage, incredibly short, and we both realised after a couple of weeks we made a mistake. So there you go. I think Enzo has retracted his message because I can't see, it's too dark. Kevin was Mark Thornton's neighbour. Okay, the tall guy with the moustache. I didn't know that was his channel. I was not a fan of that. And nothing against the guy, it just wasn't my cup of tea. I watched it a couple of times, but I think he was doing quite well. I think it grew. I was surprised how quickly it grew and how many views he was getting, but I've no idea what's happened to him. Never heard of him over here, never seen him. You see most of the vloggers over there, you'll bump into them from time to time, you'll see them walking around town, but yeah, I know who you mean now. Very tall guy, American with a moustache, I think. Have I got that right? Got back from a night out on the Lash. Oh, Nicholas, you're living the life. You're living the life. Where did you go? Did you go out in Chelmsford or did you go out in London? I think I said to you before, I went to Duke's quite a few times. Is that still there, Duke's? Has it got a different name now? Or Ricky Travels? Yep. I'm guessing the, okay, yeah, when you say yep. Yeah, that's the guy then, yeah. He's, yeah, no idea. I imagine if he's vaporised, then he gave it up, because it didn't strike me as the kind of channel that would get banned for controversial content or copyright strikes. But I only watched it a few times. But fair play to him. I was amazed, because I watched it once and he was just walking around. He went down to the shop and I thought, God, this is boring content. This is not for me. And then I watched him a couple of months later and he was doing a similar thing and he had like 6,000 or 7,000 subscribers in like 2 months. So, you know, a lot more than I've ever got. So obviously, you know, some people find things interesting that other people don't. So there you go, fair play to him. The art chairs. What's happening, Simon? It's June there already, still May here. Yeah, that's true. Hadn't thought of it that way. It is still June. Time flies by here, mate. I tell you, it's amazing how quickly the months go. Please remind us what city you're in. I am in, well, I say Dumagetti. I'm not actually in Dumagetti. I'm in Bekong, which I consider to be a suburb of Dumagetti. But it's not, apparently. Officially, it's a standalone town. But basically, if you're coming out of Dumagetti, there's a road sign which says you're entering Bekong, and when you leave Bekong, it says you're entering Dumagetti. But there's no space between the two. You know what I mean? There's no like area. They just two blend into each other. So yeah, I mean, technically I'm living in Bekong, but not many people have heard of Bekong. So let's just say Dumagetti. Ricky Travels, he had a couple of hot girlfriends though. Well, maybe that's what the channel was about. I mean, maybe that's why the channel boost. I mean, you've got a hot girl, that's gonna get views, isn't it? But don't think I ever saw them. I say I only watched his channel a couple of times. So maybe I didn't give it a fair crack at the whip. I'd say I'll check it out, but if it's disappeared, I can't check it out, can I? That horse has flown. Brian Walker, you seem to make friends super quickly, but do you get lonely? Well, I like to think I'm a friendly chap. But Dumagetti's a friendly place, so yeah, you do make friends here. It's a very friendly place, Dumagetti, around the expat community. Do I get lonely? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, I don't. I'm just trying to think, have I had any lonely? When I first got here, the first month when I was in Sibilan, I felt a bit lonely. But I went out on a lot of dates. I joined Tinder and things, so I was doing stuff. But yeah, the first month I did a little bit. But then when I got over to Sikihor, I had a large circle of people I thought were friends, but large circle of people I socialised with over there, and here got quite a large circle. So no, I don't get lonely. Sorry about Brent tripping. He's in hospital in the USA. That's Josie Nippy. Yeah, I know. I feel bad about that because I didn't realise. I don't use Facebook as much as I ought to, and I hadn't watched his videos for a while. Which is bad because he watches all mine. I will have to have a catch up, and I will have to. I don't know if he watches them all the way through because some of his anyway. But I was thinking the other day, and I'd seen on Facebook alerts had come up a couple of times saying that he was in UC hospital somewhere or whatever. But I just assumed he was like, you know, there with his granddaughter getting checks because they've got a baby or whatever. It didn't occur to me he was ill. But then when I did a video a couple of days ago, someone put in the comments, you know, get yourself over to Thailand and get your medical problems sorted because you don't want to end up like Brent. So I thought, well, what's wrong with Brent then? And I went to Facebook and I saw straight away. So I messaged him and we had a chat. And then he put a video up shortly afterwards. Oh no, I think he must have put the video up before. That's probably how the other guy knew. But yeah, no, I feel bad about that because he'd been in hospital a few days and I didn't contact him. But I couldn't have talked to him anyway because he was out of it. He was unconscious, but he's recovering well, which is good. because he's been through the works. Because he was sick over here. He had a terrible heartburn. He told me about it a few times. He made a couple of videos on it. And I thought, this could be serious. But I didn't want to say that to him. Because there's a guy called, a comedian, you probably know, Bill Hicks, great Bill Hicks. And I read his autobiography. And in that, he started getting heartburn really bad for a few months. And he had cancer and he died a few months after that. So when Brent was saying to me he had the heartburn on that, I thought, God, I didn't want to say to him, well, you might, you know. Anyway, I was worried it was something like that. But it turns out it was something completely different. But it was serious. So thank God he was in the States. Thank God he got good care. The armchairs. I think he mentioned your rent as $300 use. I think you mean USA. I forgot. Are houses like yours and in that price range readily available? I don't think it is $300. I think it's less than $300. It's £200 a month, so about $250. No, not really. Not like ours. We like our house. We think ours is nice. You'll get a lot of places. Location makes a big difference. If you want to live right by the beach, it will cost you more. I didn't want to live right close by the beach for a variety of reasons. It will cost you more if you're in Dumaguete Central, which I wouldn't be against doing. But no, it was quite, that's why we took our place. That's why I'm reluctant to leave. Because what we like about our place is it's modern. You know, in the sense it's neutral colours, it's white, it's got a nice big open space. All the places we looked at, which is why we stayed and not moved on, a lot of the places here, they will build a fantastic house, a new house, and then they paint it bright yellow and purple, and the furniture and the curtains are just like, you know, God. I love the Filipino people, but when it comes to taste, it is not the same as the West. So yes, there are a variety of places around this price range. You would have to shop around in Dumaguete to find somewhere comparable to ours for the price. But, you know, yeah, one of the things about Dumaguete is, or the Philippines in general, there is something for anyone, every price band. If you want to get a place for $8,000 a month, you'll get a place for $8,000 a month. It'll be basic. If you want to get a place for, like, you know, your budget is, I don't know, $1,000 a month, you know, you'll get lots of places for that price range. You know, with swimming pools and things. There is literally anything for any budget. It just depends on what kind of place you want. What I like about ours is it's got a small garden. I cut the grass yesterday. I hate gardening and stuff like that. I could get someone to do it, but, you know, yeah, it's just finding someone. But, I mean, it's just, yeah, I like this place and the fact it's big enough for the pair of us. It feels open because we've got a big open area in the kitchen and that. We looked at a couple of places along the same sort of price range, a little bit more a few weeks ago, and they were townhouses in a development just up the road which had a swimming pool, a gated community, which people keep telling me I should move to. And I didn't like them. They felt like pokey little places. So we decided not to move for the time being. If somewhere better comes up, we'll take it. And it doesn't have to be the same price range. I don't mind paying an extra couple of $100s a month for the right place. But the places we've looked at for a couple of $100s a month more have not been better. Nicholas, isn't Kevin the guy who was dating Jenalai, the half African Filipino vlogger? Can't answer that, mate. Someone else can, maybe. I don't know. Someone said he had a couple of hot girlfriends, but I do not know. Brian Walker, have you had any close calls for motor scooter crashes? No, I had a couple of, I came off the bike a couple of times in Sikihor, which was my own fault. It was too much alcohol. Shouldn't drink drive, I don't do it anymore. That's why I've been a lot more careful over here. But touch wood, I have not had an accident. When I say over here, since I came to Dumaguete, I had a couple of accidents over in Sikihor. Trouble with Sikihor is it's a tiny place, at night it's dead. You shouldn't drink drive, it's a stupid thing to do. But when you see there's no traffic on the road, you do it, and I was very lucky with my two accidents over there, but it made me realise that it's a stupid thing to do, so over here I just don't do it. But it is easy to have accidents here. You know, I will have one at some stage. Every expat I know here has had accidents in the time they've been here. It's just a matter of time, because it doesn't have to be you. You know, you will get drunk Filipinos who will crash into you, as happens to a lot of people. But so far, touch wood, I've been all right. Ricky Travels, do you think the climate is better in the Philippines compared to Thailand? Impossible to answer, mate. I mean, Thailand has got completely different climates depending where you are. You know, most of my time in Thailand, I was up in Phetchabun, and it was lovely. It was warm, it was hot, but because it was in the mountains, you got cool breezes and things. You know, if you went up to Chiang Mai further north, it gets cooler. You know, if you're down in, when I lived in Buriram, I didn't like that in the summer. It got really hot and it was dry. You know, I don't mind the heat though, but I mean, not Dumaguete, I can't think, Pattaya, stroke Jomtien, when I lived there, it got very hot in the summer, a lot hotter than it did up in Phetchabun, and I didn't mind it, but a lot of people hated it. That's why you have the down season, the quiet season in Pattaya. It's in the summer months because it gets very hot. So, you know, it's I like the climate here. I prefer it to the climate in Buriram. It's on a par with Pattaya. I probably preferred the climate in Phetchabun, but there you go. Mind if it bothered me that much, I can move up to Valencia, because the climate up there is not bad. Johnny Pin 22, he said the hospital told him his stomach died. That's a strange illness. He's in hospital full of wires. Get well soon, Brent. Now Balatan, Philippines. Yeah, I asked him about that. I don't think his stomach did die. I think he was on a lot of medication when he made that video. So I think when he does the next one, he'll give you an update. He said himself he didn't really know what had happened to him. But I spoke to a couple of friends over here who work in medical things, and they said your stomach can't die like that, so I don't know. But I mean, touch wood, he was very, very ill. But touch wood, oh, what have I done here? Get this out of here. Oh, God. Sorry about that, chaps. I've got this bloody bowls thing today. I'm not going, but I'm in the group and the things keep flashing up. So I tried to swipe it over to get rid of it, and I killed the stream for a few seconds. I'll have to leave it alone, but it's annoying me every time these... If your phone's up that way, you can just dismiss them and go down the bottom. When the phone's horizontal like this, I can't wipe them off. JJ, do any expats try to borrow money off you, and how do you deal with it? No, they don't. I was actually going to do a video on that. I might talk about that. But no, they don't. And nor do Filipinos, and nor did Thais. I think it's a vibe you give off. I say I'm going to do a video because I'm going to talk about vibe and the impression you give. But no, they don't. But I had a mate over in Sikihor, Paul, who was in the channel and that, and he was lamenting the fact Filipinos kept asking him to borrow money, and he liked to say yes, but he wasn't getting it back. And I know a couple of people over here recently who said they've had to lend money to this guy and that, and I thought, well, I've been talking to that guy and he's not asked me. So no, it doesn't happen, thank God, because it's a golden rule that you don't do it with expats. But a friend who I shan't name the other month gave me a just when we were chatting on Messenger, I got the impression he was going to ask me to borrow some money, and I thought, do I, don't I? And I had decided to, because I like him. He was only like $1,000. But when I mentioned it to Ellen, she was like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But anyway, he never asked in the end. I got it completely wrong. But no, no one has ever asked me to borrow money over here. Jonathan, Brent has an ulcer an ulcer of sorts, I'm guess you saying. It's easy to type in the wrong thing. I'm not digging you out for a mistake. I'm just clarifying. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. When I was just asking how he was, and I say until he's a bit better and a bit out of it, I won't really pry into what's actually caused. Brian Walker, yeah, I hate those white tile floors. Everyone seems to have something about it so unattractive. Yeah, it's strange. It's strange. Can't think what the tiles are in our place, but I think they are white. But the rest of the tiles are okay. Brian Walker, I watched your scary experience in Secure. Anyone who hasn't seen it wants to make sure they go back and find it. Yeah, that was a while back, wasn't it? My nutty neighbour, my stalker. God bless him. Not long for this world, if the rumours are to be believed. Right, well, I don't have any more comments. So there you go. I never know though when I use this phone whether I don't actually have any comments or they've frozen up. Someone please send me something now. because then I'll know if it's my phone or whether people just aren't asking me questions. It could well be that you got bored of me, I'd understand that. But a couple of times when I have done live streams, I have thought people have stopped asking me questions, and it turns out they are. It's just, it's not showing on my phone. I've promised myself what I'll do next time is I will bring my laptop out when I do the Tuesday night live stream, because then I can read off there. But I didn't do it today because I wouldn't be able to read it with the sun. That's the reality. Here we go, I should be writing it right. Speaking of Asia, coffee and chat, 15 watching. So if I cap English now, I should be able to read them off here, and then I should be able to answer my own question, hopefully. Oh, here we go. I have got a JJ. Were you ever based at Aldergrove? No, been there, but not posted there. A few times kites landed. You know, we were refueling and things, and spent a couple of days there, but never there as a posting. Why do you ask about Aldergrove? Are you from over there, or? Have you been over there? The art chairs. What's the plan for this summer? Have you both done any island hopping where it takes a few days to go to different places and stay at each? No, we haven't. Ellen and I have only been away once. We've been away to Cebu. Is it the only place? She came over to Sikio once. But yeah, no, no, not really. I'm very lazy these days. So many people have told me that everywhere in the Philippines is the same, but different, if you know what I mean. The beach might be different, but the culture, you know, and it's just the same but different. I think someone said that the other day, and they're damn right. I think it was Adam who said it. I can't remember. Apologies to the person who did say it if it wasn't them. But yeah, I don't have any enthusiasm to travel around the Philippines. I'm happy here, but I'm living here. I'm not on holiday, you know what I mean? If I wasn't living here and I was only here for like 2 months or whatever, then I probably would travel. But no, we would be far more likely to go to a foreign country than we would to, the roosters are off, than we would be to go to another island. Yeah. I mean, it's like, you know, it's like a relationship. If Ellen was nagging me about doing it, I've no doubt we would do it. And I quite like the idea of going up to Bacolod or going over to Iloilo. I'd quite like to explore on the bike and go to places in Negros. Don't really see the point of, you know, long ferries and flights for no reason, but that's just me. But as I say, she doesn't pressure me to, and I'm not particularly keen. Was there from 97 to 2001 with the army. Okay, there you go. What were you in? Apologies if I've asked you that before, but I do lose track of on the chats trying to think. But no, yeah, Aldergrove, yeah. Not really spent much time in Northern Ireland. It was just, you know, yeah. I think I've been there twice. We stayed overnight in transit once, and I think we stayed overnight a couple of days. Been to Southern Ireland a lot. My parents are Irish, so we used to go there a lot. Brian Walker. What's your daily food plan? Cooking for yourself or eating most meals out? No, we stopped going out as much as we used to. Probably have a meal in maybe 2 or 3 nights a week. I tend to, Ellen, if we're staying, Ellen cooks evening meals. I tend to cook for myself for lunch and that, because she usually sleeps off during the day because she starts in the early hours. So like she's in bed now. So I will make myself something for lunch. And we might go out for dinner tonight. Sometimes, I mean, we're only 3-4 minutes from Bekong Centre on the scooter, so often we'll go out and get a takeaway and bring it back. But yeah. How far, art chairs, how far for a local coffee shop or place to eat? Can you walk there, or is it a trike or scooter time? Well, I haven't got a trike in over a year, I don't think. Yeah, it's not far. A coffee shop, couldn't tell you. I am not one for coffee shops. Not my thing at all. So I don't know where the local coffee shop is, but in terms of somewhere to eat, you've got a place called, yeah, it's not far. I mean, it's 2 minutes on a scooter tops. You've got, what's it called? The Hunting Grounds is a bar which is very close to us, a couple of minutes away, which is like a bar, resto bar, and that. There's another one a few hundred metres down from that called the Square. Then you've got Kingaroos, which is quite a popular restaurant for expats, an Australian place, you can tell from the name Kingaroos. And there's quite a few eateries, you know, Filipino ones, and there's a burger place. Yeah, there's lots of places to eat if you want to. But we tend not to eat. If we're going to go out for a meal, we tend to go into Dumagetti most of the time if we're going out. But coffee shops, though, I do not. I went to Ground Zero a couple of times when I first got here. Seems to be a thing for vloggers to go to coffee shops. So I went to Ground Zero to meet Mark, and I went to a place called Bojo's to meet Paul Old Dog. And where did I meet? Tom Tom's I met. Was it Tom Tom's? Yeah, no, it was Tom Tom's I met. Regular guy, Scott. But yeah, whenever you're, what's the word? Collaborating with fellow YouTubers over there, they always send to meet in coffee shops, but I'm not one for coffee shops. I'd rather have a coffee at home. If I go out, I tend to have a beer in a bar as opposed to a coffee shop. Brian Walker, I'm sure you've talked about this in many videos, but do you plan to return to Britain or stay in the Philippines for the foreseeable future? I will go back to England at some stage, just for a couple of months to see family and that, but I've got no intentions to ever move back to Britain. I've not lived in Britain for a long, long time now. Nothing against the UK, but no plans to live there. Yeah, I'm happy in the Philippines. And if I left the Philippines, I would go to another country. I would probably go to Vietnam or Cambodia next. Not Cambodia, Colombia. I don't know, but I'm happy here, but no plans to go back to Britain. I like the UK, but as I've said many times in videos, I don't like working. I'm happy being retired. And the reality is, I can have a fantastic life, or afford to have a fantastic life in Asian countries or South American countries, etc. If I was to move back to the UK, I could not go out for meals several times a week unless I start a business up again. And I've got no urge to start a business up again. So no, I am, yeah, I wouldn't go back to the UK. Brian Oxley, greetings from Hong Kong. Greetings, mate. Welcome. I don't think we've chatted before. We might. I think that's a new name for a live stream. Greetings from Hong Kong. Summer is too hot. Where are you? We are in Isabella, so we do summer in Hong Kong and winter in Caligula and Isabella. Summer's in Hong Kong. There you go. I have never heard of that before. I know a few people. My old mate Jeff's in Hong Kong at the moment. I know a couple of guys who live in Dumagetti in the moment, who are teachers, who have taught in Hong Kong in the past and worked over there. I don't think I've ever spoken to anyone who summers over there. I didn't know it was that kind of a place. Power to you. Have I missed anyone in the chat? Go back down again. JJ was Royal Signals. Brian Walker has asked about the daily food plan. Right, no, we have no more questions. It's got a bit cooler now, which is nice, because it was damn hot today. I don't mind the heat. The trouble with the Philippines is, although I can take the heat, sometimes you sit out in the garden like this, or you go out for a walk or whatever, and you burn, you don't realise it. So I'm always a bit wary, because usually I sit in the shade with the camera around this way so I can read it. But today, because the sun was coming down, I've had to move the camera into the shade, so it doesn't glare on the screen, but subsequently I can feel the burn building up in the back of my neck. I'm sorry, my friend, I can't read your title. What's it say? I can read your message, but I can't. 1 zeros, I think it is. Do you invest in stocks? Well, I do invest in stocks, but I don't invest in the sense that I've got a couple of passive funds that I'm part of. So I invest through them. So yeah, I do have a stock portfolio, but it is a passive fund. So it's not like, you know, I couldn't tell you. I know the sectors that I'm invested in, but I don't know the shares, you know, which companies they are. I've no interest in doing that. You know, people have said a few times, oh, you need to buy this stock, you need to buy that stock. No, not my area of expertise. I think you have to spend a lifetime learning that. So yeah, I'm happy with passive funds. Ones and O's is my name. Okay, yeah, got you. Yeah, I can see it now. Ones and O's. It's when the sun came down there. The text is brighter. I'm in IT. Okay, well there you go. So you could work remotely, presumably anywhere. Do you invest in stocks? Someone was telling me the other day I should invest in Tesla. No chance. The armchairs. Is boredom ever a factor there? I've heard after a year or so, palm trees and beaches is good. Have hobbies and minor business activities. Yeah, I think it depends on your personality. It depends on your personality. I don't get bored, but I had the potential. See, I don't get bored, but I would go out and I would do things which aren't necessarily good for you. Like, you know, that's why I started the YouTube channel, because it keeps me busy. That's where I do the quizzes, because I spend times doing the questions. So yeah, you've got to find stuff, because if I wasn't doing that, I would be more inclined to go out and socialise and probably drink in the afternoons and things, which is not productive and not healthy. So no, but I think it depends on your personality. I've got a couple of friends who get bored very easily, so they're always fixing things or working on the house and that kind of stuff. That's not me, you know. So yeah, you know, some people are lazy, aren't they? You know, I know a few people who wouldn't get bored. They just spend their afternoons, you know, they just go down the local bars and spend the afternoon drinking in the happy hours. So, you know, but in terms of the beaches, yeah, 100%. That's why I wouldn't want to live by the beach. I have lived in places with beaches before. When I lived in Zhongqian, I had a fantastic beach. I was there for about 6 months. I think I went on the beach about 3 times in that whole time, apart from a couple of evenings. It's only the last week when I was moving, I went for a walk along the beach and I thought, I should do this more often. But that's not me. I'm a bit of an insomniac, so I tend to sleep during the days and do stuff at night. So that's why I have no interest in paying more to live on the beach here, because you get the storms and everything hits you a lot harder if you're on the beach. And I know from experience I would never spend much time on the beach. So there's no you know, no incentive for me to live on the beach. Ones on one. I stopped drinking by myself. I only have a beer or wine with family now, which is rare. Yeah, I can't eat them. And that's one of the things I like about Dumagetti, in a sense that in Sikihor there was too much, because I like to drink in moderation, but I'm a social person. I've never understood the point of going out and having 1 or 2 beers. I know a lot of friends, you know, people who do that. And I just find that, you know, if I go out to drink, I like to have a few drinks, which is why Sikihor wasn't a place for me originally, because same as why I wouldn't live in Jomtien or Pattaya, because there was too much temptation there. It's too easy to go out and get in a conversation, a couple of beers turn into loads. Here, most of the bars during the day are dead as a doornat, and the people that drink in them are not particularly interesting. So I have no desire to go into Dumagetti and have a few afternoon beers, which is good for me, because it means I don't go out. That's what I like about Dumagetti. It's slow, it's safe, and there's not too much temptation. Ricky Travels. I think 3 months in the winter over there would be good enough for me. Yeah, well, each to their own. You know, each to their own. You're probably right. A lot of people say that. There are a lot of people who just come here for a few months so they couldn't live here full time. I get it. We're all different. Nicholas, you were in Thailand before it got ruined. Visited late last year. First time since COVID. Was very disappointed. Yeah, but you say it got ruined, but where did you go? I mean, if you went to the tourist places, maybe they have changed and maybe they have been ruined. I don't know. I've not been back there for a long time. But I'd be very surprised the places I live, Buriram or Phetchabun, whether they've been ruined, because I would be amazed if they've changed much at all. You know, it's... people keep telling me how the UK has gone to the dogs, and, you know, how it's not the same and it's this and that, and they've got problems with immigration and things. When I go back, I go and visit my family up a mountain in Wales. I go visit my family. You know, those places haven't changed. They're the same as it's been, you know, in years. I mean, I guess it depends where you go in Thailand. Thailand is a big place. The Philippines is a big place. You know, in terms of so many islands. You know, it's anyway. Brian Walker, you were not even tempted to live in or near Angeles City for 3 or 6 months. No, absolutely not. Not my kind of place at all. I only ended up in Jomtien, as I said on the channel before. I'm not interested in tourist destinations. That's why I like Dumaguete, because it's not a tourist place, it's somewhere to live. I lived in Vegas for 6 months, and I've lived in a couple of tourist places in the past before I came to Asia, and after a while it turned very thin and I hated the place. That's what happened to me in Sikihor, you know. So, and I thought that would happen in Thailand. But I knew when I moved to Thailand, I'd seen vlogs and I had spoken to people over there, and they said to me that Thailand is a difficult place to live in the, quote, provinces if you can't speak the language or you don't have a girlfriend. And of course, when I moved there, I was single and I couldn't speak the language. So I thought, I've got a couple of options here. One of them was Bangkok, one of them was Pattaya. I didn't know Jomtien even existed then. Or Chiang Mai or somewhere like that, somewhere I could go, get settled, learn the language to a certain extent, and then move out of those areas. And that's how I ended up in Jomtien. I moved to Pattaya for a couple of weeks, really didn't like it there, found Jomtien, that was okay, but as soon as I was up to a level where I thought I could hold a conversation, and I met a girl and she lived in Phetchabun and was going to go up there, and I jumped at the chance, and it was the best thing I ever did. So no, to me Angeles City is, I've never been there. I might be doing it an injustice, but it's just a small version of Pattaya. No, don't want to go there. Not my cup of tea at all. Well, someone did tell me the other day that there are other parts of Jomtien, Jomtien, of Angeles, which aren't like, you know, the famous part. But I'm happy in Dumaguete. I mean, it always makes me laugh. People always say in my videos and things, why do so many expats live in Dumaguete and blah blah blah, you know, it's a terrible place. You think, well, the clue should be why so many live here. It's not a holiday destination. So a lot of these vloggers, they come here for 3 or 4 days and they wander around and they say the place is terrible and then they leave. Yeah, it is for a holiday, but it grows on you. You know, it took me I hated it when I first came here. Didn't like Sibilan, didn't like Dumaguete, went to Sikihor, fell in love with the place. Came back here for a couple of months, the idea being to see how things went with Ellen and then move to another island, try somewhere else. And I like it in how it grows on you. You know, you can't tell until you've spent an extended period of time whether you like it. And the thing I liked about Dumaguete, not so much now, is every month I was here, I'd discover somewhere new. I'd find a new restaurant, I'd find a new place to go, and it grew on me. Now I've been here so long, there are less new places to find, but no, in answer to your question, no, never wanted to go to Angeles City. Nicholas went to Bangkok, had a very bad air pollution and got stuck in traffic for 3 hours. Also visited Pattaya and Jomtien, and both were kind of lame. Didn't vibe with new influx of tourists. Okay, well, fair enough. The smog or the air pollution can be terrible in Bangkok. At times, I mean, it comes down from the north, and it comes down from Myanmar and Laos, I think, primarily. But yeah, I had that once. That's why we cancelled our trip, because we were going to go to Thailand, and we were going to go Bangkok and Pattaya, just to give Ellen the experience. And then I thought about it, and I remembered a time when I went down to Bangkok, and it was about that time of year. I think it was around April. And I just had 4 days of like runny nose and streaming eyes, stinging from the wind. And I thought it didn't put me, I was living at the time, so it didn't matter so much. But I thought, I don't want to go there with Ellen for like a week or 2 weeks holiday, her first time there, and have terrible air pollution. So that's what put me off. But that has got worse, apparently. The 2 bad months of burning season, which you used to get in Chiang Mai, now has apparently become 3 months. In terms of the tourist influx being different people, I do not know, mate. I can't. Brian Walker, I think he's had his comment retracted or removed. When you say the new influx of tourists, what are they then? Are they Are we talking about Russians and things like that? I don't know. Bill Steve, you can get by in Phuket enough Thai speak English. Yeah, but I can any of the tourist places. I know Phuket would have been an option, probably Koh Samui. Yeah, anywhere touristy, you can do. But as I say, to me, tourist destinations are for holidays. They're not the best places to live. I say that's what drove me mad in Sikkim in the end. It was all the tourists. It's Brian Walker. I'm reasonably good looking and charming, so I don't need to pay a woman to show me affection. But a lot of guys seem into that, but it's also not my cup of tea. Yeah, some guys are, and it's, it's not all big. So, surprisingly, it always surprised me in Pattaya how you got a lot of young, fit, good-looking guys who were there whoring it, shall we say. As far as they were concerned, they just liked the fact they could do whatever they wanted in Pattaya and they could pay for it and they didn't have to, So it's not all, less than attractive guys who have to go there. And the thing I liked about Pattaya was the vibe, in the sense that I could go out there and you got a lot of sex tourists over there who were really excited to be there, and they spent their whole month, year looking forward to their Thai holiday. So you could go out there and you could go out to a bar, a couple of beers, and it was just a great atmosphere. You could have a great crack with people who were really happy to be there. I mean, I like that side of it, but the trouble with Pattaya is you just see so much you don't want to see in terms of, and the friends you have over there are just constantly from drama to drama. This girlfriend has taken for that, or this guy's broken hearted because he's found out his girlfriend doesn't love him, or some guy's committed, or someone's running out of money, and it was just always drama over there. And I still like to go to Pattaya. When I was living up in Petrobum, I'd come down to Pattaya sometimes do my visa runs, and it's got a vibe to it, and the food's great. You've got a lot of restaurant options there, but not the place to live. I like Jomtien, but once I got out of there was no going back, and I never ever thought in Thailand, right, I want to move back to Jomtien. Big Steve, Brian Walker, you pay one way or another. Good luck. There you go. I know a lot of guys take that actually. Brian Walker, IG Steve, that's painfully true. Haha, cry. Big Steve, 1,000 small cuts. There you go. Can you chaps hear that music over there? The karaoke has got louder now, or it has got more boisterous. Is that interfering with the stream? Not that I can do anything about it. Well, I've been on for 48 minutes now. My coffee has nearly run out. I'll do an hour. I said to myself I'll sit out here for an hour, but I will knock it on the head then. I will go and do something productive. I don't know what I could do that is productive, but I've decided not to waste my day today. Hence, I'm talking to you chaps. And what could be more productive than coming out to the garden and doing a live stream? I cut the grass yesterday. I thought Ellen went away. She went to a fiesta back in her home place, which I should have gone to, which I feel guilty I didn't go. But when she went away, I did a bit of gardening, and I thought I would come back and she would come back and I would get lots of points. Say, oh, you shouldn't have done this and you've worked so hard. I even tidied the house. I got nothing. I got complaints that I hadn't cut the grass short enough, and I hadn't done this, and I hadn't weeded the back bits, and I hadn't cleaned the kitchen properly. So a lesson learned. I will never lift a finger again in this house. The Archers, any good pool halls in Dumaguete? Well, I can't tell you whether they're good or not, but there are a few. Pool is very big over here, and darts is, which is nice. I'm far more likely to play darts than I am to play pool. But yeah, there are a few in Dumaguete. Well, there's at least a couple I know of. Whether they're good or not, I do not know. But there's one up there where we are now. We're just off the can't think what the road's called, North Diversion Road. But anyway, if you go up the road to Valencia, there's a big one on the left-hand side called Zero something. I think it's called the Barcode. That's got a few pool tables in it. If you go to, I'm trying to think where these pool halls are. There is one just up from Cafe Racer, but they're very Filipino. Nothing wrong with that, but they seem to be Filipino places. I think they gamble a lot. There's a couple of, there's a place up in Valencia. They've only got one pool table, and people queue outside it. But you can tell the way everyone's standing around it, looking in there, playing for money. But yeah, there are a couple I know of, but I'm sure there are more. But it's not something I've ever looked out for. Not so many over in Sigil. There were only like one or two places with pool tables there, and a couple of the pool tables were really lousy. My old mate over there, Paul, he was a fantastic pool player. Best player I've ever seen in the flesh. And one of my friends, one of Ellen's girlfriends, has a boyfriend, a young Filipino guy, and he's a professional pool player. Professional in the sense of his job. I mean, he doesn't play in competition, but he hustles. And I want to. I think they split up now, but I wanted to see him play pool, because pool, if you know what I mean. Because Paul's bloody good. He played me a couple of times and he 7-balled me. Fantastic player. Ricky Travels, that's one good thing about Thailand. No shortage of pool halls and bars. Fully equipped with a lady or two to play with. Yeah, there aren't as many as there are in Thailand. But I mean, they play snooker in Thailand. I'm more likely to play snooker than I am to play pool. But apparently there are no snooker tables basically in the whole of Thailand, Philippines, apart from Manila. Paul told me that. Don't quote me if that's true or not. But yeah. Brian Walker, welcome to the less than attractive guys club. Ha ha ha. 3 out of the 4 Beatles, only Paul was the heartthrob. Huh. I'm smiling at that, but you've lost me. I don't know where the conversation has gone then. I'm struggling to read it and I do lose track. I do apologise, but well, less than attractive anyway. There we are. So what do you chaps got planned for your days? Well, Nicholas won't have much planned for it because it's night time. No one in the UK presumably will have that much planned. Brian Walker, we can barely hear karaoke over the Roosters, but seriously, we don't hear the karaoke music. And brain starts to tune out of the Roosters, so they are undistracting either. Yeah, I'm not so bothered about the Roosters. I know they can be irritating. I get used to them. It's just the bloody karaoke, because you can get copyright strikes and you get 3 strikes, your channel goes down, you know what I mean? So I'm always wary of music. But as long as you can't hear what it is, I don't think that'll be an issue. Today it's quite, I can hardly hear it myself now. It's just when they start a new song, you think it's getting louder. And this guy can't sing. So that's a strange thing about the Philippines. I think it's the same guy. You know, they'll just, like in Thailand, in our village we had a couple of karaoke bars and they were great, because you'd go and you'd have something to eat, and I'm not going to sing, but a few drinks later I'd start singing, and I can't sing. But you'd get little Thai guys who'd like pull up. Remember, watch a bus driver once, he pulled up and he just came in and sang a song and then left. You know, they just love to sing. But it was a social thing. Here, you'll just get like some drunk guy outside, which this guy probably is, with a microphone, just singing away by himself. I haven't heard, I think it's the same voice. I don't know where it's coming from, but it sounds to me like it's the same guy the whole way through. Or there's more than one guy that can't sing, but there you go. If that's what floats his boat, but not my idea of fun. I think when I've done this, I'm going to go back in and have my second shower. The art chairs, after 3 strikes, does the channel get shut down forever? Or is it only shut down for a while? I've got no idea. I've never had a strike, but I'm wary of them. And, you know, I don't want one to sneak up on me. But I can't tell you that. I don't know if the channel's gone forever. I think it's got to be quite serious to get a strike as well. I don't know how you get one, because a few times I have had music in there and they've told me I've got music in there, but they say it's not a strike. It's you know, they're just notifying you, and you won't get revenue from it, or you have to share the revenue with the you know, with the copyright owner or whatever. So I don't quite know how you actually get copyright strikes. I know it's a thing for reaction videos, because I've heard people have their channel shut down with that because they've like got to 2 or 3 strikes on that kind of thing. But I don't know is the answer to that question. Touch wood, I'll never get one. I've only got 5 likes today. That's disappointing. I must have had about 60, 70 different people come in. Obviously only 5 people liked it. There you are. I say I'm losing my touch, but I don't think I ever had a touch. I'm sure he's getting louder now. I think this is the first song I would probably recognise if I strained my ear. Maybe not. Maybe it's a Filipino tune. It sounded familiar. But a lot of the riffs and that in these Filipino songs are stolen from Western songs. Well, it's been emotional, guys. I've got about 5 minutes left, but the conversation has dried up. No one's telling me what they're doing today or imparting any wisdom upon me. Going back to Brian Walker's comment about the boosters, I really don't mind. It's amazing how many people. Oh, I've got the likes are going up. I've got 7 likes now. You've made an old man very happy, whoever you are. Thank you very much. My heart soars like an eagle when I get a like. Yeah, the roosters. It's, you know, always amazes me when people say the roosters would drive them nuts and all that, because for a start you don't hear them in the house. But yeah, there are roosters and there are karaoke's. But I mean, I grew up in London. I've lived in a lot of cities. You know, you lived in Vegas. You get like car sirens, all the, you know, police sirens and that all the time. You know, you get traffic and things. You know, it's to me the roosters aren't a problem, to be honest with you. They've only become a problem to me because of the YouTubing. Because I'll do it and people will put comments like, I couldn't live with all those damn roosters and I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that. So then you become conscious of the fact you don't want too many roosters in your videos. And then you become aware of them and it drives you nuts. But up until that, like now, if I wasn't talking to you guys, I wouldn't even notice that rooster over there. It would, you know, it would be oblivious. And when we lived in Sibulan, there weren't any roosters there because we lived right in the city, but my God, you could hear the trucks and the lorries going by all night. It's driving the hooters and the horns and karaoke. It's driving me. It wasn't even karaoke. One of the shops downstairs, guy, he said put his music on at 6 o'clock in the morning. And the landlord who owned the apartments we lived in, every morning would go in and tell him to turn the music. And he'd hear this argument kicking off about it. It was like Groundhog Day every day. It'd be like, start at 6 o'clock and you think, this bloke. And you think, we'll be about 2 hours now before the landlord goes and tells him to turn it down. And he would go and do it. And then 2 hours later, he'd turn it back up and go, oh, God, I hated living there. The noise was a problem there. The Philippines is a noisy country. But the roosters haven't bothered me. Ricky Travels is 10:45 p.m. here. Temperature dropped to 30°C to 18 about an hour ago. No aircon needed. Well, there you go. Happy days. Happy days. We don't use the aircon much over here. The armchairs, it's like almost 10 p.m. here, rainy night. So really, no one's doing anything tonight, are they? I know it's the early hours in the UK, and in all you American chaps, it's night time. So there you go. It was a silly question to ask you what you guys are doing, because it's night time, isn't it? Got to try and find my optimum time. I'm up to 8 likes now. Thank you very much. I've come into the conclusion there is never going to be an optimum time, because the first live stream I did got like 1,000 views, and I got one over there in Sideways one day, and that got a lot. And I'm thinking, not that I'm chasing the views. You think, you want to be fair to people. So I've got a 7 p.m. one I do every Tuesday. So I'm thinking, is there another time where I can get the people who will be sleeping in the middle of the night at 7 p.m., just to speak to more of my subscribers. But I can't find a time. Whichever I do seems to be, I've not tried that much. I've tried 4 o'clock in the morning, and I've tried 11:45 here. I should try 8 o'clock one morning. But then you'll find that 8 o'clock's going to be too early for a lot of people. Tommy Wands, 2:45 p.m. in Australia. Okay, so it's 2:45 p.m. in Australia, Tommy. What are you going to do with the rest of your day? It's an okay time for North America. Ricky Travels. Yeah, might be. But I don't know what the optimum time is, you see. That's the thing. I tend to think, that's why I did it now. I thought nighttime. People are more likely to, you know, want to have a chat, a live chat at nighttime. But they tell you, I mean, I put my videos up at 7 p.m. now. I made a big mistake pissing around looking for the right times to do it. But they do tell you on Google that the best time, the optimum time to upload your videos in America is 3 a.m. in the morning here, which is about, you know, in 3 p.m. in the afternoon over there. And you just think, why? Why are people watching the majority of the videos in the afternoon in America? You'd think they'd watch them in the evening when they finish working. But maybe they watch them at work, maybe they don't. But it's very hard to find an optimum time. I think it depends on your audience. You know, Brian Walker, almost forgot about the thumbs up, likes. Glad you mentioned it. Well, there you go. Thanks. I don't think it makes any difference, though. Thank you very much. It makes me happier. But people say, like, you know, I see people in other videos, give a thumbs up. It really helps the channel or whatever. I don't know if it does it? Helps the algorithm, they say. That's what I asked for them. But I don't think it may. Maybe I've got so few viewers, it doesn't make a difference. But I always average around 10% likes from my audience, which either means the vast majority of people can't be bothered to do it, which I understand because I often don't hit the like button. I should do. Since I've had a channel, I try and hit the like button more when I'm watching other people's videos because I know it's supposed to help. But or it means that 90% of the people who watch my videos don't like them, which would be a bit depressed if that was the case. I'd like to think they're like you, Brian. They just forgot to do it. Brian Walker, I do funerals as a side gig. The Filipino families are by far the best of any nationalities and cultures. They are incredibly kind, warm, cheerful, humble, friendly. Always a pleasure to assist them. What do you mean you do funerals as a side? I was about to log off then. What do you mean you do funerals as a side gig? I've never heard anyone say that before. I do funerals as a side gig. The Filipino... What do you mean a side gig? I'm going to keep talking now until you explain what you mean by that. Ricky Travels, does YouTube tell you who gave a thumbs up? No. It doesn't tell you who your subscribers are either. Only a very small percentage, which are public subscribers. The vast majority, you've got no idea who they are. Ricky Travels, horizontal gig, question mark. I do funerals as a side gig. Well, as an undertaker, or you just turn up for people's funerals? I've got an image of you like the Wedding Crasher. You just turn up to people's funerals like the Wedding Crashers do in the film. That is a very funny film. Brian's keeping us in suspense now. He's either not answering, he's taking it's a long response, it's taking a while to tap it, but I want to know what he does funerals as a side gig. I've got to stop doing that, shaking the camera. He's tapping away. That is the longest build. They're building a house over there. I'm quite lucky actually. The old drills haven't come out and the old grinders and things, but every day there's 2 or 3 of them working on it, and they do not seem to make a lot in the way of progress. No, I think Brian's going to keep us in suspense. He's not telling us what he means he does funerals by a side gig. There we go. Well, it has been emotional, fellas. I have enjoyed the chat. I hope you did too. Thanks for to everyone who has dropped by and observed in the background or has interacted in the chat. Very much appreciated. I'm going to do this a lot more often because it's a lot more fun having a coffee and a chat with you guys than it is having a coffee by myself. Thomas wonders his Will Ferrell character in the Wedding Crashers. Yeah, that's what I mean. I've got imagery of him now turning up as a Will Ferrell wasn't in the Wedding Crashers, was he? Oh yes, he was, wasn't he? Was he? I know it was Luke, I can't think what his surname is, and God, I can't think. As I get older, I cannot remember any actors' names. God, I can picture them too. The little blonde guy and the big guy, and the big guy, God, what's his bloody name? He was in Swingers. He's one of my favourite actors. What is happening to me? Oh God, what's his name? He's been in so many things. Very funny actor. I can't think of either of their names. The Armchairs. Ciao, come star. When's your next live? It will be Tuesday, mate. My 7 p.m. live stream. I might do another one in between. I mean, I'm going to start, but they're going to be impromptu. I haven't set any. Why can I not remember the guy's name? The actor, Vince Vaughn, and Luke. Oh, anyway, Vince Vaughn's Luke Wilson, is it? No, Luke Wilson's a different character, isn't he? It's the guy with the crooked nose. I can't think what his name is. Brian Walker, thank you for hanging out with us. You're a quality gentleman, humble and down to earth for such a cool guy. Well, God bless you. That's the nicest thing, Brian, anyone has ever said to me. But you never told us what you did with the funeral. So I'm going to forgive you the fact you never told us about what your funeral side gig was by the fact you've been so nice to me. But Owen Wilson, that's it, Owen Wilson. So I was thinking of Luke Wilson. Are they related? Because they're both in the Royal Tenenbaums, which is one of my favourite films. But yeah, Owen Wilson. But I'm sure the guy in the other one is called Luke Wilson. I'm going to have to Google that, see if they're related. But yeah, you're right, Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn and, there's a brilliant film. One of my favourite films, and I can't think of the name of that. It's Vince Vaughn and the director, who's directed a lot of films now. The chubby guy. I can't, he's a boxer. I'll have to look into that. Anyway. Very nice of you to say that, Brian. You're a star. I can tell by the fact you leave a comment like that you're a great guy yourself. Right, I'm gonna log out now, chaps, before I get sunburnt on the back of my neck, and I might go and play bowls actually. If I'm going to play bowls, I have to be there before 2 o'clock, or I have to tell them I'm coming so they can put me in the drawer. Right. Anyway, thanks for watching. Goodbye, everybody. Been emotional. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stay safe, be lucky. Hope to catch you on the next live stream. Hold on a second, I'm back. Brian Walker, you asked me what we do with our day. I'm into water skiing, riding dirt bikes. My favourite bike is a Suzuki RM1252 Strikes. Sounds like a small bike, but it's faster than a Yamaha. No, I asked you, said, do you do funerals as a side gig? That's what I was asking about. It was, but yeah. So you've answered the other questions. Yeah, I do funerals as a side gig. That's what you do with your days. A Yamaha YZ250. Well, there you go. I'll have to check that out online, see what those bikes are like. Anyway, I'm off now, chaps. Thanks for everything. Be lucky. I can't remember how to switch the thing off now. I'm terrible with technical, but anyway, thanks for watching, chaps. Here we go.